They said it would be light, a late-night conversation about a new film, maybe some laughs. Jimmy Kimmel welcomed Denzel Washington onto the Kimmel stage with his usual charm. Jimmy said, "Denzel Washington, everybody, look at you. How you doing, man?" Denzel nodded, voice calm. He said, "I'm good. Jimmy, good to be here." The audience applauded warmly. Jimmy said, "So, you've got a new project about everyday heroes. Tell me, why now?" Denzel said, "Because ordinary courage is what keeps us going, especially in tough times." Jimmy said, "I love that. And you've played some of the best heroes on screen. What makes a real-life hero different?" Denzel said, "Real-life heroes don't look for applause. They act simply because it's right." Jimmy nodded. He said, "Okay, fair. But let's pivot. America's polarized. People ask, what's your heart telling you? Do you blame people in power?" Denzel said, voice steady. He said, "I blame negligence. When people in power forget who they serve, that hurts everyone." A beat held. The audience leaned in. Jimmy said carefully, "Who do you mean?" Denzel paused. He said, "Those who speak loudly, without substance." The studio fell silent. That wasn't a joke. Jimmy's face tightened. He said, "Are we talking politicians?" Denzel said softly. He said, "Yes. And pundits. And entertainers pretending to represent America." Jimmy shifted. He said, "That's a wide net." Denzel said, "It is. But when you talk for America, you better be speaking for all of it." Jimmy's tone hardened. He said, "I do my part. Comedy, conversation. I give people something to think about." Denzel said calmly, "And sometimes that's enough. But if you're speaking as their voice, you better know who you're echoing." Jimmy frowned. He said, "This is my show, man." Denzel said quietly, "Yes, it is. But when you say we, America listens." Jimmy's jaw clenched. He said, "Okay. So when you say we, you're talking about me?" Denzel paused. He said, "I'm talking about anyone who thinks America owes them belief, just because they speak." The audience exhaled softly. The energy shifted. Jimmy swallowed. He said, "That's a charge." Denzel said softly, "The American people are tired of you. If you're just noise without service." A hush followed. The words dropped heavy. The studio lights clicked back on, but the mood had shifted. Jimmy Kimmel sat forward, gaze locked on Denzel, voice steady but charged. He said, "You're calling me out, saying I'm noise, that I don't serve, that sentences don't hit home." Denzel's eyes held as calmly. He said, "Yes, I'm saying when you speak for America, you should lift it, not just entertain it." Jimmy folded his hands. He said, "Isn't that what comedians do? We shine a light on problems, using humor to wake people up." Denzel said, voice measured, "Humor wakes us, but action keeps us awake." Jimmy bristled. He said, "Are you saying comedians aren't doing their part?" Denzel said softly, "Some are. Some settle for applause." Jimmy nodded slowly. He said, "So, I should ask myself, am I settling?" Denzel gave a small nod. He said, "If the work ends with a punchline, when people are still hurting, it's incomplete." Jimmy looked away briefly, then back. He said, "I sponsor good causes. I raise money. That counts for something, right?" Denzel said, "It counts. But are you making people believe? Not just laugh at problems, believe they can be better." Jimmy's posture stiffened. He said, "I try. But this is entertainment." Denzel said, voice warm but firm, "Entertainment can be dangerous when it reassures people in pain without pushing them toward change." Jimmy's voice lowered. He said, "So you want me to change the show?" Denzel said, "I want it to change the people who watch it." A hush fell. Jimmy broke it. He said, "That's heavy." Denzel said, "It's necessary. Because America is hungry for voices that don't just echo, but do." Jimmy looked into the camera, voice softer but real. He said, "And if I don't?" Denzel's words landed. "Then they don't need you. They deserve better." The studio held its breath. Jimmy swallowed hard. The lights softened once more, but the weight remained. Jimmy sat quietly, hands folded. The silence stretched. He finally said, "I hear you, Denzel. I do. It's not easy to balance laughter and leadership, but maybe you're right." Denzel nodded. He said, "It's not easy, but someone needs to say it." Jimmy looked to the camera, voice humble, steady. He said, "I've made people laugh for years, but maybe it's time they leave here with something more than that." Denzel said gently, "That's the beginning." Jimmy took a deep breath. He said, "Then let's try it. Let's move beyond noise." Denzel offered a small, sincere smile. He said, "Then the people will know it." The audience applauded, softly at first, then with growing warmth. It wasn't cheers. It was acknowledgement. Jimmy nodded to Denzel. He said, "Thank you for pushing me, pushing us to think harder." Denzel stood, calm and composed. He said, "Every voice has power. Just make sure it's power with purpose." Jimmy stood as well, both men acknowledging the moment. The stage lights dimmed as they walked off together, not as adversaries, but as partners in something bigger. This is the USA Liberty. Subscribe if you believe entertainment can awaken action, not just applause. If you're tired of noise and ready for voices that move hearts and minds, join us. Because anytime we demand more from ourselves, we invite real change.